Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. I find you here on a cold January afternoon. I both can't believe it's still January, definitely can't believe it's not butter, but then also feel like January should have ended like 3 months ago. And I also can very much believe it's not butter. Actually, I don't think I've ever tried I can't believe it's not butter. What is it? Like, if it's not butter, like maybe it should be butter. You know? Maybe butter is butter. I'm going to Google what I can't believe it's not butter. I do have to say to the marketing people over at I Can't Believe It's Not Butter, you kind of crushed it. You kind of killed it with that one. Is a popular brand of margarine. Okay. Marketed as heart healthy, with less saturated fats. Okay. I feel like it's, no offense, allegedly, probably not that good for you. But who am I to judge? What do I know about health? Not much. So it's just margarine. I can't believe it's not butter. Okay. Anyway, I hope everyone has had just the best week. I'm sitting here with my decaf iced coffee. So essentially the nightmare of whoever invented regular coffee. They said, I wanted you to drink a hot caffeinated beverage. And I said, absolutely. Can I have that freezing cold and no caffeine? I just took coffee so out of context. Oh, there's a bank I could go to across the street. I never feel more alive. Not alive. Alive is the wrong word. I never feel more professional than when I have to go to the bank. And it's even if it's like to pay a bill, like it's not even like something good. I definitely don't have money to the point where I need to be going to a bank. Actually, do rich people don't go inside a bank. Like, their money's not real. I often wonder that, like, if you're a billionaire and you need to do like a cash-based, you need to do like a cash-based transaction, where does that, like, how do you just go to the bank and get like $500,000 in cash? Is that possible? Also, does all of the money in the world exist in cash? And at what point were we able to go, like, completely digital? Like, money really, like, if you think about it, if you think hard enough about it, which I clearly have, because I have the time and the creativity, I'll say, to, just pat myself on the back. If you really think about it, money is fake. Like, money is completely fake. They could... I don't know who they is, but they could just give everyone a free $100,000. And, like, I feel like it would probably, like, make whatever, the stock market and whatnot unstable. But, like, if we just pretend that it's stable, doesn't that solve the problem? Like, I totally understand if all money was cash. It's like, well, you either have it or you don't. But if none of it is, like, even physical anymore, heck... Credit cards, you don't even need, everything's just on your phone. Unless you have a phone from 2006 that can't do Apple Pay, because in order to use Apple Pay, you have to verify your card via an app, and my app is too old for the phone that I have. Speaking of money, and speaking of, I've fully leaned into using this iPhone 6. I am a user of an iPhone 6, and that is what it is. It might be a 6S, again, not to brag, but it works perfectly fine. I'm onto Apple's games. I'm onto their nonsense. I know that it's the same software on the inside. They just tweak the hardware like ever so slightly, and then sell you a new phone. So don't fall for it, people. Okay, and apparently I've heard, I know nothing about trends, I know nothing about the internet, because again, I don't have a phone that can get all these apps, because all these apps are newer than the phone that I'm using. But apparently 2016 is back, and I've been seeing everyone post their pictures from 2016, and they all have the same phone as me. So for a second, I was like, oh my gosh, I've started something. Everyone's, reached into their junk drawers and pulled out their old phones from 10 years ago. And it's like, okay, no, they're actually not doing that. They're just posting pictures from 10 years ago when they had these phones when they were new. So I almost felt like a sense of solidarity and like community. And then I realized that that's not what's happening. So there's that. Regardless, I hope everyone's having a great start to 2016. Oh my gosh, to 2026. I mean, 2026, 2020, or 2016, it's all kind of the same thing. Once we get to 2030, like, that's going to be crazy. But I get, because it's like new decade. But I guess we started a new decade in 2020, and that went so well. That couldn't have been smoother. Do you know what I was thinking? That whole, like, COVID situation is 6 years ago. Like, almost to the day 6 years ago. Like, what the heck? How does that happen? I guess it lasted so long. You know what? Do you know what makes me sad about COVID? I mean, a few things. We could do a whole episode on that. But, like, there was never... I think we were all... And by all, I mean at least I was. Like, waiting for the moment when we could be like, okay, COVID is done. Like, let's take the masks off. Like, let's... like, it's over. We did it. And it was such a gradual, like, phase out. As it probably should have been. So, like, I'm not criticizing the scientific method. I'm just saying, like... It was such a gradual phase out that, like, it never felt like it was over. Like, it just, one day we looked around and, like, we just, like, weren't in our houses anymore. Does anyone else relate to that experience? Like, we all just kind of, not forgot, but, like, it's just sort of a thing. And now, like, people will get COVID and it's not, like, it's just like, oh, yeah, I have COVID. And it's like, okay, because it used to be, like, oh, my gosh, did you hear? Brittany said, like, it's like, okay, you would notice, like, a coworker was, like, not there for a couple days. And the first day, it was like, oh, maybe they had an appointment. And then the second day, it's like, oh, they probably just have, like, a cold or something. And then the third day, it's like, well, maybe they did, like, okay, do you know what? Maybe they worked from home 2 days ago, and, like, something came up today, and then, like, they're going to just be in later, and it's going to be fine. And then, like, that fourth day would hit, and you're like, I think they have COVID. And now it's just everyone's like, oh, I have COVID. And it's like not, like, we're not freaking out about it. And I'm not saying we should or shouldn't freak out about it. It's just funny how easily, like, it just adapted. I'm also shocked at how easily we started just being gross again. I've kind of felt like it would be a few years before we were just, like, openly coughing and, like, sneezing on people in public and, like, licking our fingers when we're looking through the coupon book that they give you at the front door of Costco. Like, I thought that type of behavior wouldn't have returned to us until we reached the next decade of 2030. But no, there's fully just, like, finger licking happening just in open malls, which that's another thing, is like, poor malls. And I'm not saying people should or shouldn't be licking their fingers. I'm just saying it's just an observation. But another observation that I had is I'm so worried about the malls because, one, I love a mall. And I would love a mall because I'm someone who doesn't have a lot going on, who has, not the most free time, but not the least. So that's obviously, like, the energy, like, the mall is the energy I cling to. It's like how I can be around people but be alone, Like, I'm the type of person that would really benefit from a mall. And I'm getting worried because all of, like, the big department stores are closing. So at some point, there's just going to be a bunch of malls with, like, gaping holes in them. Well, there already are malls with gaping holes in them. But, like, how are we going to fill these mall holes? These moles. Moles. It's the perfect word. Like, no business is able to pay the rent of a huge portion of a mall. Because everyone just shops online. So unless Amazon wants to open, like that's the real Amazon storefront. I don't know the Amazon storefront that all these influencers are talking about. I'm quite confused at that whole concept. But, like, if Amazon wants to make like a brick and mortar, although I think they do, which is kind of hilarious because they truly, like, ruined, Jeff Bezos had an idea in his garage 20 years ago, and, like, you know, not his fault that it shut down all of the physical stores, but, like, the fact that they now kind of open physical stores is a little bit hilarious to me, because it's like, yeah, that was how we were doing things before. Like, we really just revert. It's on the same level as Apple releasing AirPod carrying strings. It's like, okay, you took the wire away, and now you're adding it back? Question mark? But regardless, I'm really worried about these moles. Really, I'm just so worried about the moles. And I can't believe it's not butter. But, and where is Shelley Miscavige? Can we find her? I'm not kidding. I'm fed up. If anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, just Google where is Shelley Miscavige, and if you have the answer, just let me know. Like, we gotta find her. Like, this is nonsense. It's nonsensical. You know where she could be hiding? In one of the moles. I mean, I don't know. That's where I would go. Okay, let's brainstorm. What could they turn these holes into? I feel like a lot of the time they'll turn them into, like, gyms, which I'm not against that, but, like, that's not gonna help me. Like, I'm not going to the gym. So, like, what? Like, could we turn them into, like, theme parks? Like, because here's the thing, a lot, no offense, like, not to call any businesses out, but, like, a lot of the moles, you know, sprouted when Toys R Us went bankrupt. So it's like, if we turned it into, like, a theme park or, like, a Chuck E. Cheese or an arcade, it's the same sort of audience. Right? Not a bad idea. So we have to look at, although maybe it is a bad idea, because if there were so many kids there, maybe they would have stayed in business. Poor Toys R Us. Now that poor giraffe is in the unemployment line. What's his name? I don't know. I'll ask him when I'm also in the unemployment line. But, yeah, I was actually, like, genuinely stressed about this. Like, as stressed about the whole where is Shelley Miscavige. Miscavige? I don't know how to pronounce her name, but just Google it, okay? There's it's wild. Anyway, I need a documentary. As I can barely get through a 20-minute episode of a TV show, I'm asking for movie recommendations. I'm the worst, which you can probably tell. But I will literally go around asking people for recommendations and then never watch. I'll be like, can someone just give me a good show to watch? And then people will be, I was like, I can't find anything good to watch. And then people will list off like 7 allegedly good shows. I'll try none of them. And then in a week, I'm like, I have nothing to watch. It's like, well, no, you do have something to watch. And then people will follow up. There's nothing worse than someone being like, oh, did you end up reading that book? And you just have to be like, no. I do feel bad sometimes. Because I've also many times been on the other end of that, where you're just like begging somebody to watch like some random show you found. And it's always like some random German show on Netflix that you have to watch with subtitles. That's like randomly like the best show ever. I don't even have a specific example. I just know that this has happened before. And you just like can't get, like you do so much promotional work. You're like, guys, everyone watch this show, it's great, and then no one watches it, and everyone's just watching, you know, Grey's Anatomy. No offense to Grey's Anatomy, I'm sure it's a great show. I actually have seen it. But it's like, do we need to be promoting Grey's Anatomy? No, we need to be promoting, you know, something else. I'm not sure. But yeah, I hope everyone has a great end of January. What's coming up? We're in the football playoffs. I randomly, once every football season, I remember what a big, or that I am a football fan, that I'm interested in football. And the problem is it's normally towards the end of the season, and then the season ends, and then I forget until like January the next year. But if someone could remind me like in August, September-ish, in the fall, that I want to watch football next year, just I would really appreciate that. Because I forget my interest until the playoffs. Although maybe it's only interesting in the playoffs. But I don't want to be that type of fan. I want to be committed. And I also, like, where I live doesn't have a team, so it's like, what team do I root for? Maybe I'll just root for whoever wins this year, but is that, like, bandwagon-y? Maybe I'll root for, like, not the worst team, but, like, a middle team. Where it's like, they could go up, they could go down. So, like, there is some sort of, like, risk involved. It's like when you do an investment. You say how much risk you want. I'll go medium risk. For high reward. Anyway, thank you, everyone, for listening. If you like what you heard, you can go to podcastnobodyaskforthis.podbean.com. On there, you can find the links to everything. You can just straight up listen to the show on there. You can submit your ideas on what we're going to fill these gaping holes in the malls with. You can let me know if you do or do not believe that it's butter. And, yeah. Stay warm out there. Godspeed to anyone that has to scrape their windshield. Oh, a terrible thing happened to me today. I thought I was being proactive and decided to scrape the windshield of my car that was all frosty about an hour before I had to leave because I had some time. I was waiting for something else. And by the time I actually had to drive my car, again, like less than an hour later, it was frosted over again. So what did that teach me? That taught me to don't be prepared. Do everything last minute because at least you know it's going to be effective. And as a self-proclaimed procrastinator, I'm almost happy to leave you on that note. So I'll talk to you next week. Thank you again for listening. Goodbye.